The 8,000 dead children and counting can't hear our words anymore. They cannot benefit from anything we say or do. We're standing at the precipice of World War III, and I hope that's an exaggeration, but earlier today, or yesterday, a group from Yemen attacked either an American army base, although they were saying they attacked 2 Israeli ships, and US responded. So this war is now spreading outside of Palestine. Before this, the US has, from a ship from the Mediterranean, I think, or somewhere, also launched attacks into Iraq or somewhere. This happened earlier. And so, yeah, I hope it's an exaggeration, but the potential for this to spread far and wide is really, really big. So a world in which 8,000 children and counting can be killed while so-called leaders claim that it's a very difficult question may perhaps not deserve to exist in its current form anyway. After all, where's our humanity? Where's the genuine desire and work toward peace? Where's the compassion, the understanding, and where's the human siblinghood? We've been seeing the political leaders of Europe and the US either staying silent or doubling down in their support of this atrocity of a war against children, doubling down on blaming Hamas or anyone but the Israeli government that fires the bombs, and the US and other nations who supplied those same weapons and bombs. Just empty words. In Gaza, the graveyard of children, what has also died is the myth of Western humanity and democracy. What else has been revealed is that the political systems that exist are so sick that they stand no chance of ever causing any good of the caliber that we need for genuine change. The divide between the rulers and the American people, actually the ruling and the ruled people all across the world really, has become so apparent with the war in Gaza. A 66% majority in the US want a permanent ceasefire to the war, but the rulers aren't listening. The system isn't broken, it's sick. It's corrupt and rotten to the core. A government where corporations and other nations' lobbies have more power than the people within the nation itself isn't a just or even working system because it's not working for the people. It's working for other interests, financial gain for the few, those who have the money. And that system has pretty much always been that way. So, who are we fooling into thinking that an electoral change is what will remedy that? It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. People have just always put up with the idiocy as long as they had enough food and prosperity for their families and loved ones. Some more, some less. Now, ironically, there's even more of the less. Is it time for ceasefire now to turn into resist now here? Because no one is listening. And it's already too late for the over 8,000 dead children. The irony of a larger war is that the same shameless and soulless and cruel individuals behind these wars will become richer still, at least in the first moments. Eventually, though, the war might reach them, and perhaps then they will change their tune. But will it really require this for people to change their understanding that war is of no true benefit to humanity at large? That we cannot play games involving human lives just because we can earn money off their debts? That is immoral and wrong in the absolute. If we cannot understand that, then any system that doesn't accept this cannot and should not exist. It should be removed because it doesn't genuinely benefit humanity. So perhaps a larger war that reaches the entire world is necessary for the so-called leaders to straighten up and humanity to have a reset. And yet, I cannot accept that, as it would mean the death of more innocent people. A whole lot more. Outside of Israel, inside. And of course, for the Palestinians, they are already experiencing that. And yet no one in power is really listening. Nations like the US, Israel, and most European nations have lost their moral compass if they ever had one to begin with. Israel didn't. It built its nation on the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians whom no one cared about at the time, and for most of their 75 years of life under oppression in an apartheid system. Israel was built on a lie, sustained by a lie, which is now unraveling on a larger scale. The truth always comes out. It's just a matter of time. And if there's even the smallest chance of a creator, a God existing, then I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of a liar, an oppressor, a cruel human, a Zionist, an American politician, a racist, a justifier of the atrocities in Gaza, or a justifier of the October 7th attack against innocents inside Israel, or anyone else who carries prejudice and hatred against others. A lot of people are reading the Quran because of the resilience of the Palestinians. And the Palestinians are of the type that just so humble in the face of tragedy. So many images, so many pictures, and you can see all of them. You find all of them online if you want. And if you want to study this topic deeper, watch the movie called Tantura, which is the name of a once village standing in Palestine in 1948. Also talks about how Ben Gurion asked for a revised history, rewritten, which wouldn't mention the Palestinians, which would not mention anything about the violence, at least not on the part of the Israelis. This isn't about Jews or Muslims or Christians, even though all of them are suffering in this. But it's about Zionists and other people who justify a war in which you can kill over 20,000 people, 70% of whom are women and children, innocent civilians. And to think that that's a good thing. So Palestinians, I'm reminded of an image of these two brothers, I want to say, who just dusty faces because of the bomb that just went off. And one kept saying, I saw my father die, I saw my father die. And they didn't know, but they looked for them and they found their father and their brother. And there are so many orphan children like that. And yet time is ticking for them, and I don't know if they're alive still or if they're already killed by the next bombs, next wave of bombs, next day of bombing. And there's no precision in these bombings other than the fact that the bombs are hitting the targets and the intended targets. And if you listen to political leaders, Zionist political leaders of the political right-wing party in Israel, Netanyahu himself, and commentators, you'll clearly hear the genocidal intent in their words. And this is going back to, it's not new. It's been going on for decades. We're only seeing it now. And the truth always has a way of coming out in the end. That's what's happening now. You're just seeing it now. but it's been going on for a long time. A lot of this is based on guilt as well, guilt for the Holocaust, but the Palestinians had nothing to do with that. They just suffered the consequences of something they didn't do. They're paying the price of somebody else's sins. There are Jews who are standing up against this, who are doing something beautiful, because when they say never again, they mean it for everybody. But the Zionists in Israel don't. They don't mean it for everybody. They just mean it for themselves. Even if it means that they cause it to others, because oppression by any other name is still oppression. But some people are threatened into silence, guilt. But the greatest insult to the victims of the Holocaust and the memory of it is to use it to cause more atrocities or to legitimize more atrocities. So I'm glad that there are these beautiful souls, Jewish people, that are standing up and saying not in our name. And that's really what this comes down to. It's not along the lines of religion, except for those who make it that way. But for the rest of us, the irony of this is that the people who are standing against this genocide are the same people who would stand up against the Holocaust if they were there in that time. And the irony is that the same people that suffered are causing this to others. But the Palestinians, 75 years of systematic genocide, systematic apartheid, oppression, killings, deaths, murders. There are so many Palestinian children in jails around Israel. They are held without any due cause. They go through military courts. They're tortured, regularly beaten, abused, and every other atrocity you can imagine and can't imagine. And this has been going on for a long time. Clear apartheid. Now the Palestinians are still, through all of this, resilient. Thinking of the Palestinian man who lost both of his legs, and all he says is, "My legs have gone before me to paradise." So is it any wonder that people are reading the Quran? Because that's their faith. And I understand it deeply. There is a sentence in the Quran which reads, "And your Lord never forgets." 1964. Again, if there's even the smallest chance that a creator exists, then this should cause anyone to pause. And your Lord never forgets. I hope you keep doing what you're doing, good people of this world, because you have to keep fighting the good fight. And know that you're not alone in this fight. The majority of people seem to be on the side of ending this genocide. All of that Western mythology about democracy, humanity, it died and lies buried in Gaza, the graveyard of children. If we can't help the children, we can't really do anything else to make up for that. I'm not suggesting we give up. I'm saying we need to look at things through a better and more truthful lens than we have been. To focus on the right thing, the crucial thing. Otherwise, it's all talk. And the dead can't hear any of these words. They are no benefit to them anymore. And yet we have to speak up because it's almost the least we can do.